Hey guys! So today we are going to talk about if you should drink alcohol on the FODMAP diet. And not only that, but what alcohols are actually low and high FODMAP. So I'm going to demystify all this stuff for you. It can be kind of confusing when you're looking at the Monash app. So let's talk about it. All right, I am Julie O'Hara. I'm the founder of CalmBellyKitchen.com, and our website provides recipes and resources to help you take control of IBS and other digestive issues with the FODMAP diet. Okay, so let's talk about alcohol on FODMAP. Short answer, yes, it's okay to drink alcohol on the FODMAP diet. Many types of alcohol are low FODMAP. We'll get into that in a minute. A few of them are high and you want to watch out for those. But alcohol has other ramifications if you have IBS or a sensitive digestive system. So there haven't been any randomized controlled trials. Those are, like the best type of a research study that can be conducted. There haven't been any of those done on the effects of alcohol and IBS. So there isn't a lot of really solid data about it, but what I learned on the Monash University site is just from their observational and anecdotal data working with thousands of people, is that they estimate that about a third of people with IBS believe that alcohol triggers their symptoms. So if you're listening to this and you're like, I know I always feel worse when I have a glass of wine or a couple of cocktails or whatever it is, then you want to reduce that as much as possible. If you love to have a glass of wine and you can stick to one glass occasionally, that's absolutely fine. You just want to reduce your risk of symptoms, keep your symptoms as manageable as possible while still enjoying your life and drinking in moderation. But if you're not sure if alcohol affects you and triggers your symptoms, I would just encourage you to really pay attention to it. So on one of those nights where you have a glass of wine or two, do you feel worse than usual the next day? Look at what things you've been eating. Have you eaten a lot of high FODMAP foods that day? What happens when you have alcohol versus no alcohol? If you suspect it is causing problems, maybe you don't have to give it up completely cold turkey. So what I would recommend is looking at, and this is really nice if you keep a food journal, but look at how you feel when you've had, let's say, 2 glasses of wine. So next time, try having 1 glass of wine on a Saturday night. Does that reduce your severity of your symptoms? Is that feasible? And if it's really not, then maybe you want to cut back and just really understand, let the FODMAP diet do its thing, because you want to know your optimal level of symptom control on the FODMAP diet. So those are my general suggestions for deciding whether you should make alcohol part of your life when you're doing the FODMAP diet. It's a very individual thing, and personally I do drink alcohol, and I have during the elimination and reintroduction phases. I mostly drink wine, and I don't notice that it has a big effect on me unless I drink way too much, which of course I try not to do because I don't want to have a hangover. I don't want to feel terrible. And I will tell you that if I do have a hangover, it will really affect my stomach, and it doesn't take a lot of alcohol to get to that point. So I am really conservative and I drink in moderation. But I do love my wine and I do drink it. Now when it comes to, sorry, I just knocked the camera there. When it comes to something like beer, personally, I cannot handle beer because of the carbonation. I just feel like I have this bloated balloon in my stomach, for a couple hours after I have a beer. So I almost never have it. And that really goes for all carbonated beverages for me. I never drink soda. What I've observed with working with clients is that some people can handle carbonated drinks no problem, and for some people it just makes everything worse. So again, observe how carbonation affects you. And you have to think about that if you want to have a cocktail. So a lot of mixers are carbonated, like I don't know if you want to have like a Coke and whiskey and Coke or something like that, or whatever it is. Watch out for those mixers. Like cranberry juice is low FODMAP, but if you have 3 drinks with 8 ounces of cranberry juice each, that could kind of build up your fruit and your fructose for the day. So there's a lot to consider. Now, let's talk about what alcohols are actually low versus high FODMAP. So almost all wines are low FODMAP. The thing that you really want to watch out for are the very sweet dessert wines. And this has always been really confusing when you're looking at the Monash app because they call it sticky wine. And they're just referring to those really sweet wines like port, sherry, ice wine, anything that's just really viscous, thick, and super sweet. Now there's a category of wine that is often called sweet wines, but with that we're talking about Riesling. Rieslings can be sweet or dry, so a sweet Riesling, a sweeter Gewürztraminer, a Moscato, those are getting more popular now. A white Zinfandel, that's a sweet wine. Those are actually low FODMAP. They've been tested. So most wines are good except for those really sweet dessert wines. Beer is low FODMAP. So if the carbonation isn't an issue for you, it doesn't give you the bloat like it does for me, you're good with beer. And again, it's all about observing what works for you. Now, liquor. So a lot of liquor is low FODMAP. The two you want to watch out for are rum. So rum has been tested by Monash and it's high FODMAP. So if you like your pina coladas and daiquiris, well those probably have a ton of other ingredients that are high FODMAP with all the mixers. So lay off the rum. Tequila is always the question mark. I don't know why they haven't tested tequila, but they haven't. And tequila is made with agave. And if you are familiar with your high FODMAP sweeteners, agave is very high in fructose, and it's a no-go on the FODMAP diet. Now, theoretically, the fermentation and distillation process that happens when you make tequila may eliminate any excess fructose in the finished product. So there's a good chance that tequila is low FODMAP, but we don't know for sure until they actually go through the testing process. Personally, this is my own anecdotal evidence. I do fine with tequila. I love margaritas. I'll make them myself. You know, I don't use like the store-bought mixer. I'll use lime and simple syrup. But I do love my margaritas, and I drink tequila as well as mezcal. But that's just one person. You know, like with so many foods, you really need to find what works for you. So tequila is a question mark. And the last thing, I guess, to cover would be like liqueurs and all those mixers, aperitifs and vermouths, things like that. Those are all a question mark as well. So the best thing you can do if you like cocktails is to avoid the really, complex drinks with a lot of different ingredients. You're probably better off sticking to the really simple stuff, and stuff that's not excessively sweet. So if you like martinis, if you wanted to have a vodka or a gin martini, they use a tiny bit of dry vermouth to make a martini. That is likely okay, even though, for the record, vermouth has not been tested. So all the crazy, flavored liqueurs and stuff, it's just a question mark. Probably not ideal because they are very sweet. And then even just sugar in general can be a gut irritant, and you've got that going on with alcohol, so you've got a lot of potential for problems there. All right, so I hope that answers your questions about alcohol on the FODMAP diet. So this was actually a request from someone in the Facebook group, and it was a great question that I haven't really covered specifically on its own before, so I wanted to talk about that. If you have any questions that I didn't cover, please leave a comment below and tag me just to make sure I see your question, and I would be happy to help. I'm just gonna take a look at my notes and make sure I didn't miss anything. So I would also love to know if you personally drink alcohol on the FODMAP diet. So tell me what your experience has been. Let's all learn from each other. And I hope you're having a fabulous day. Hopefully let's see, it's like lunchtime here. Hopefully you're not drinking at lunch, unless it's a special occasion. That's okay too. But I will talk to you guys next week, okay? Bye.